They fined me $750 for parking the wrong way in my own driveway 4 days after my wife's funeral. No kidding, the notice was taped to her favorite flower pot, the first thing I saw when I got home from the service. I remember just standing there, suit jacket still draped over one arm, reading that slip of paper and thinking, well, Laura, welcome to the neighborhood, right? You ever have a moment so ridiculous it almost snaps you out of your own grief? That was mine. My name's Daniel Cross. I'm a civil engineer in Central Florida, and this is how one suburban board tried to turn my worst days into their own little power trip, and how with a little law and a lot of stubbornness, the whole mess turned right back on them. When I bought our place in Lake Estates 7 years back, the brochure promised heritage charm and old-school neighborliness. What they forgot to mention was the small print about fines, $50 a day if your trash cans are visible, $200 for unapproved vegetation, and some mysterious administrative review fee that seemed to be whatever they wanted it to be. Laura used to joke about it, said they just wanted control over mulch color and mailbox flags. But after she passed, laughter just left the house, kind of like heat leaking through an open vent. And the HOA president, Beverly Gates, folks, called her Karen with a charter. Well, she made her move before Laura's flowers even wilted. A week after the funeral, I got a courtesy reminder that Laura's memorial wreath did not conform to exterior decor standards. I ignored it, just didn't have it in me. Next came a citation, 30 days to remove non-compliant items or face fines. It was printed on letterhead that smelled like stale toner and pure smug. So I figured I'd try reason. Walked over to Beverly's citation folded in my pocket. Knocked. Her little dog barked like a smoke alarm, and when she opened up, she only cracked the door. Rules keep order, Daniel. Emotion isn't an exemption. She actually said that, and I knew this was never about lawns or fences, but about control. That night I sat at the kitchen table flipping through Laura's old binder, the one labeled Mortgage and Property. Every tab still neat, every paper exactly where she'd put it. Closing docs, warranty deeds, even a plat map folded to perfection. My thumb snagged on a page, Covenants, Conditions, and Restrictions. April 2002. And right there in Article 4, no rule or amendment shall be enforceable if inconsistent with original county permit conditions. You see, the county had revised those permits in 2009, which means in Florida, anything the HOA tried to enforce that clashed with the public record wasn't worth the paper it was printed on. The next morning, I drove down to the county building office, paid $26 for certified copies, and walked out with a manila envelope stamped Public Record. The original permits maps, and here's the kicker, a diagram showing public access rights along every driveway for stormwater maintenance. Translation: that wrong way parking citation had no teeth. But I didn't say anything, not yet. Engineers. We learn patience from concrete. It cures slow but holds forever. Instead of fighting back right away, I started documenting time-stamped photos, every citation neatly labeled envelopes. By March, my binder was 2 inches thick. Then one morning, my neighbor Carl, retired Navy, steady as a rock, caught me photographing another notice nailed to my garage trim. "They're gunning for you, man," he said, coffee thermos in hand. "You gotta hit them where the bylaws end." I told him I was working on it. Then came Beverly's Friday patrol. 2 uniformed cops and her with a phone recording. "He's hiding a stolen vehicle," she yelled. The officer, who looked like he wanted to disappear, said they got a 911 call. I opened the garage empty except for Laura's old bicycle. Beverly's face turned beet red. That false police report, that was the pivot. If I let them get away with weaponizing the rules, nobody in that neighborhood would ever be safe from a vendetta. So I started digging for real leverage. Next morning, I fired up the county parcel viewer on my laptop. Every lot in Lake Estates had a stormwater assessment and a utility easement. I traced the blue line running right under my driveway, the same one Beverly's rule violated, bookmarked it, printed the GIS overlay, and added it to the public record tab. 2 days later, I asked the county property clerk if there were any amendments recorded since 2010. She checked nothing. Last board submission was 2009. That meant every new rule Beverly loved: mailbox colors, porch rails, even Laura's wreath wasn't enforceable. I could have called her out, but I wanted them to double down. People like her always do. A new notice appeared: red tape, unauthorized garage use. Carl strolled over. "She's losing her mind," he said. "You planning to sue?" "Not yet. I wanted everything in writing." Mid-April, HOA budget meeting. Beverly's voice blared over the folding table. "Order is the backbone of our community." She looked at me for that last word: decay. I asked about the enforcement budget. "That's privileged board information," she snapped. "Actually, under Florida statute 720.303, it's open record." The room murmured. I told her I'd already requested the records 2 weeks ago. No reply. Melissa, another neighbor, piped up. "My kid got fined for chalk drawings. We can't even see where the money goes." The room split half for me, half against. After Beverly cornered me at the coffee urn, "You're turning this place against itself," I told her. Sometimes defiance is just math. That night, Carl and I went through my binder. "You could take this to the state ombudsman," he said. "They live for selective enforcement cases." I wanted to build a case they couldn't spin. That's the thing about HOAs. If they apply rules to one but not all, courts see it as a breach of duty. So I called Amy Patel, a friend from college, a real estate lawyer who knew case law like a Rolodex. I sent her every citation. She said, "They're out of compliance. Want to make this interesting?" She explained that the HOA's common area insurance was built on a retention pond parcel that, thanks to a legal loophole, wasn't even theirs anymore. It had reverted to the county, and any private party could bid on maintenance rights. "How much?" I asked. $748, she grinned. So I wrote the check. "If you've ever tangled with an HOA, are you anti-HOA, or do you think they're salvageable? Drop your take below. And if you've figured out a trick to stand up for yourself, share it for someone else." By May, I held maintenance rights to the retention pond that propped up all their rules. I kept quiet, just mowed my lawn, logged every letter. Beverly's notices shifted from citations to threats, final warning before lien processing, pattern of non-compliance. Carl joked my binder looked like a courtroom exhibit. Then came the smear. Someone posted my house on Facebook: "Engineer or enemy neighbors deserve safety." I took screenshots, not the bait. 2 HOA compliance inspectors in neon vests started taking pictures outside. I calmly told them, "Public easement's fine, but step on my driveway and that's trespass." Knowledge nugget: in Florida, HOA volunteers can't go beyond written notice, but they sure try. By the 3rd week, it was clear they wanted to squeeze me out. I put up a front door camera and a sign: "All interactions recorded under Florida law. Bought me 3 days apiece." Amy checked in. Any movement, I told her, I was just waiting. She'd quietly filed the maintenance assignment under Crossway Management LLC. The HOA never even checked the county registry. Once they did, they'd see I could shut down any spending tied to that parcel. Late June board meeting about an emergency landscaping assessment, drainage work on the pond. Beverly contractor will commence work July 1st, contingent on approval. I asked which contractor. She named one. "Do they have authorization from the parcel owner?" She blinked. "The HOA owns the parcel." I slid over the maintenance rights assignment. "You don't." "I do." The room froze. Carl smiled into his coffee. I didn't gloat. Just gathered my papers and walked out. For a week, silence. Then a plain envelope on my doorstep. "Cease and desist. You've made your point. Let's talk." Beverly's first sign of fear. I didn't answer. Power doesn't always shout, it waits. I mowed the lawn twice that weekend, slow and patient, letting her watch. Monday emergency meeting, drainage rights dispute. I showed up, binder in hand. "You've been enforcing rules that depend on a parcel you don't own," I told them. Her VP tried to bluff. I pushed the certified copy across the table. "If I restrict maintenance, your irrigation goes out of compliance. That means your insurance drops in 30 days. Silence. "We'll review council options," Beverly muttered. Good, I said. Ask them about breaches of fiduciary duty. Of course, retaliation came fast. 3 code inspections, noise complaints, nothing stuck. One officer told me, "They're overreaching. Document everything." So I did. Photos, decibel readings, every detail. Carl showed up with 2 beers. They tried to corner my wife at the playground, asked if we still associate with you. I said, "They're panicking. The second they cross into criminal, they'll meet real law." Amy filed a full records inspection request, every receipt, every fine. Halfway through the waiting period, the HOA's Facebook page vanished. Rumors flew. Some said I was sabotaging drainage pumps, but something changed. Neighbors started approaching me quietly. They fined my kid for chalk, told us to take down our flag. They wanted help. Suddenly, it wasn't just my fight. Mid-July, Beverly handed out flyers promising new leadership transparency. She brought in a county inspector, probably to rattle me. Instead, it gave me a neutral witness. That meeting, I handed Officer Mullins my paperwork, explained the whole situation. Public record maintenance writes everything. The crowd gasped when the numbers came up over $18,000 spent on legal threats, all without member approval. When pressed, Beverly froze. Officer Mullins made it official. Non-compliance confirmed. The room erupted in applause. So I made my offer: adopt these reforms, term limits, open records ethics committee, and I'll return the pond. Otherwise, you can explain this to the county prosecutor. Melissa uploaded the HOA's own financials for everyone to see. The vote was quick. The reforms passed almost unanimously. Beverly slipped out a side door. Carl clapped my shoulder. "You did it, man." I told him, "No, we did." The next morning, Amy and I filed the reform charter at the county clerk's office. The clerk smiled, stamped it, heavy thunk. Lakemont Estates was now under the Crossway reform, term limits, transparency, public audits, and finally a real standing ethics committee. A week later, the local paper ran the headline, "HOA Scandal Spurs County Oversight." The board's insurer dropped coverage. Beverly resigned, and 2 board members took plea deals for harassment and false reports. Carl and I sat on the porch that night, just coffee, not whiskey, watching Melissa's daughter draw another heart on the sidewalk, this one big enough to touch the curb. Before the sun set, I placed a little brass plate on Laura's flower pot. This home defended fairness. Then I walked to the pond, no longer mine, but still part of me, watching the water ripple gold in the evening light. If you believe I fought the right way, if you've ever stood up to power for someone you love, leave a comment below. Or tell me, what's the fair punishment when those in charge cross the line? Resignation finds prosecution. I'll be reading every word, because the fight for fairness doesn't end with one win. After that, the bulletin board filled up, not with citations, but sign-up sheets, art day posters, reports. The word compliance was replaced with maintenance. And sometimes late at night, I stand in the driveway, listening to the sprinklers, smelling the wet grass, and thinking justice isn't loud. It's steady, filed, stamped, lived in the open. If this story reminded you how small powers can twist a whole place, share it so others can learn. And if you want to see what fairness really looks like, stick around, because the rules should serve the people, not the other way around. Next case. Maybe not mine, but there's always another driveway, another notice, another story waiting to remind someone that justice, even in suburbia, still belongs to everyone.